Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We have finally done the May tier list, and as you can see, we have added a lot more things. On this video, though, we do have Ibby joining us live. We're doing a collaboration video, and together we're going to go through, we're going to explain this tier list. And Ibby, take it away, bro.
So yeah, for this new tier list, we've added a new key with 4 different types of things. So the first one is talent reliant. This basically means that this guardian needs certain talents to actually be good.
No worries. We have Sig Reliant, 4-star ability as they unlock their signet. So as you can see, Guardians like Ursula do heavily require the armor she gets from defeating an enemy once she has that Sig, and to be placed in B tier. That's why we've rated her like that. We feel that she does need that Sig.
Now onto high skill. So if you look at Frank, he's high skill. The reason he's high skill is because of his heal and his special ability. So you can't really heal at any place in the area. You need to actually enter the dense foliage, which can be difficult to manage. So that's why he's high skill. And if you are unable to really take advantage of that, he's not really A tier.
And onto the last key, which is on the right-hand side, number of tier upgrades. This is a new thing that we are trying out. And as you can see, at the moment, there are only 2 Guardians with that. Now, Ibby is going to explain all of Maui, so I will jump on to Jack Sparrow here and just explain this. And what this means is, if you do not play this Guardian optimally and you do not use the right talents or the high skill with Jack as well, we could have probably put a T on him as well to make his heal optimal. But basically, as you know, you collect the 10 curse charges. That gives his heal the maximum one. You equip his basic. And also, when the enemies do debuffs, you can cleanse. That also adds to his heal. So once you're aware of all this and you play strategically like that, we feel playing him optimally, Jack Sparrow is more of an A tier Guardian than a B. But without this, we'd rate him at the B tier.
So now on to Maui. As you can see, he's got 2 stars instead of 1 star. So this means he's actually an S tier guardian, but this only applies when he's with Jack Skellington. And he's also got that T, which means he's talent reliant because there's a certain talent which allows him to gain armor. And also, if you zoom in, you can see Jack Skellington also has an S, which means he's signet reliant. So with this combo, you really need Jack Skellington at 4 stars. But if you look to the top, Jack Skellington isn't usually Sig reliant, and that's because when you're using him alone without Maui, he doesn't really need that signet ability.
Cool. Right, so on to the 2 new Guardians. As you can see, we have placed Woody in A tier, and we have placed Anna in B tier. Now, this is just an initial placement. The project team, we've all banded together for Anna, and we have him at 3, 4, and 5 stars. We've all upgraded him. We've all tested him and tested her, in different ways. We've used talents, and we just feel like with Anna specifically, there's a couple of things that would be more beneficial to her kit. Like, she applies all of those debuffs, but basically they're all the same. They're all damage over time. If you're on Discord and you've seen Scullia's suggestion, we feel that Wound should have something different to sort of freeze, and Burn should do something, just a little bit extra to differentiate them all. They only last 6 seconds. Her damage is good. It's good, but it's not great. It's not. It doesn't scale as well as the A tier Guardians, in my opinion. What do
Also,
you think, Ibby?
Also, something I want to add is that she's got specific talents in relation to Titanborn, which aren't really something I'd say is very needed at this moment in time. But in the future, I can definitely see her being very useful in certain circumstances where Titanborn are more prevalent, and maybe there's a Titanborn boss of some sort.
Yeah, she'd really shine then, and those talents would really come into play. That's a good point. That'd be cool as well. A good Titan raid kind of mode. Okay, so bro, on to Woody. Now, Woody's quite complicated. I mean, he doesn't have to be, but we feel if you want to play him really optimally and get the most out of this Guardian, he is talent reliant. And as you've noticed, you can kind of play him ranged and you can play him melee. So there is 2 kind of talent builds. I will put both builds on the talent guide and give a little bit of an explanation for him as well. But we also feel like he is high skill. Now, I feel when you do his pull move and it brings them all in, if you pair him up with somebody like Frank, throw the foliage down and the enemies are going to get rooted straight away. You could throw a Judy in. You could have someone that's also got a stun for when Woody's stun, if you proc that right as well. The stun straight after they've just been stunned if there is no timer in the middle. Anything to add, Ib?
So one thing I'd like to add is that the reason why he's high skill is mainly because of his heavy attack and his basic attack. So his heavy attack is a range attack. So you may be far away and you may throw his range attack, and then in certain circumstances, like with Gaston, for example, you're used to spamming those basic attacks straight away after the heavy attacks. So it's very hard to get used to spamming that heavy attack and then moving forwards to initiate those basic attacks.
Good points, mate. Good points. Okay, so what else have we changed this month? Oh yeah, we also have bumped Scar up to A tier. Now, the reason for this is his damage is pretty great once you use him quite well. You get those stacks up. Once you've got the talents in, you're pretty much guaranteed to get those stacks on every special. It's like 80%, 90% at the top end, and it does cap at 10, and they are permanent. They do not run down, so that's great. Once you get them up, he's absolutely amazing. I mean, we could have put the high skill on him, but we feel like it wasn't necessary because with melee guardians, you do tend to dodge around anyway. But he is a little bit of a glass cannon. Like he's got one of the lowest base HPs out of every guardian on the game, so he is susceptible to damage. But once you master the dodge game with him, and his wounds are also great, aren't they? Like he just bleeds people out.
Yeah, and he's got certain places where he really shines, such as the Moat Dungeon, and you've got like event quests where villainous guardians do they have a lot of bonuses, I should say, from nodes. So he's really got a lot of uses in the game.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot more people have been asking for this, and people have been saying it along the way. And we feel like it is time for Scar to get that well-deserved A spot. But moving on to the next change, and this is the final change, despite all the visuals. I mean, we can touch upon some of these other characters. I know you want to talk about Mr. Incredible as well. But let's move on to Stitch. Now, how many people have we had telling us that Stitch needs to be retested?
A lot of people.
There's been so many people recently. And you know what? We did probably judge him a little bit too harsh at the beginning, but we was trying to make the most out of all of his kit, basically, weren't we? We was trying to get the metallic form in, use the defensive talents to see how he works. And Ibby, you tested him recently, so maybe you can take this one as well.
Yeah, so basically, what I found is that if you ignore most of his kit, which isn't ideal, to be honest, he does have a lot of damage. Like me, I tested him against Hercules, and it was surprisingly close, even though Hercules was a lot higher stars and astral level. And it just seemed like his kit is a bit wasted, because once you're in the burn mode, it doesn't really matter if you certain talents don't even matter because they only proc once, because you don't really want to get out of that mode. And to get all the utility from getting into the metallic form requires you to stop attacking for 3 seconds. And ideally, you don't want to stop attacking because it doesn't really make much sense. So let's say you have a split decision that you need to be stun immune. You can't really do that because you need to wait 3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem fun, does it? Having all these extra modes you can turn into, but it's not the best for his damage. And I mean, you don't really need to play him in a defensive setup if you have guardians like Snow White, who's very defensive for a melee anyway, and has great damage as well.
Yeah, also Mr. Incredible, which does amazing damage and also is very
Go on,
tanky.
bro, take it away. Go on, tell him, Mr. Incredible.
So Mr. Incredible, the reason why he's talent reliant is because he's got certain talents that increase his armor gain as well as allows him to do a lot of damage. He's got, I think it's his elite talent called Showtime, which allows him to get that 10 attack buff, which is absolutely amazing. And especially paired with Hero, who boosts those attribute buffs, the damage is absolutely insane.
Again, with Mickey as well, I feel like Mickey's got two kind of builds. You can have the maximum heal build, which is basic, and then you can have the attack one. And then I did do a video on him that some people will have seen. If you do save those stellar charges, synchronize your ults to get to 5 charges, then his heal does go insane, especially with the basic on. But if you wanted to play more of a buff style, I don't really use the focus increase attribute. So I'd use the defensive one, the attacking one, and his elite talent that does cooldown. I feel that those two are the best you need for Mickey. And as always, you can drop him in absolutely any team and he's unaffected. Like, it doesn't matter. You could put him with 2 D tiers and Mickey will do exactly what Mickey does. There's no change in it. He will just boost them and make sure they've got enough HP. I don't think it'd be fun to run that team. Minnie Mouse, Mickey, and either one of those 2 garbage tanks. But, you know, if you wanted to play for fun, it'd be there.
Yeah, hopefully some buffs soon.
Yeah, okay. So Aladdin, we've gone for high skill with Aladdin Ib because he's a bit of an awkward one to play. He does do really great damage. You get those wounds in and you can just dash around and dash through the enemy and cause damage, can't you?
Yeah, and he's got that amazing miss mechanic, which means that the enemies can't even hit him, which is very useful.
Yeah. As far as I'm aware, off the top of my head, I think there's only Aladdin and Frank who have those miss abilities. Is there anyone else?
Now, there you'd be wrong because I think the Evil Queen has a talent related to that.
Maybe. Like I said, I wasn't sure off the top of my head, but we'll have to check her out and get back to everybody. So we've already covered Woody. I mean, we've gone Sig reliant for Oogie Boogie, and if I'm not mistaken, his Sig has the chance to stun with his bugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the higher you get that, it doesn't scale particularly well, but none of the SIGs really do. I mean, they start at a decent level, like 15-20%, and then they scale quite slow because the maximum is 100, and it's a progression thing. You're not supposed to get onto Astral, you're not supposed to get onto SIG 100 that quick. So it is one
yeah,
of the most gated things. But if you do get like 15 to 20 in Oogie, you do notice those bugs do stun. It does come in handy sometimes. It's pretty good.
yeah. And we've already mentioned Frank, and now on to Tiana. Her talents are uh, really what make her useful, in my opinion. She's got amazing healing capabilities and that specific utility which makes her heal the weakest HP. We did have a recent bug, or that was quite a while ago, but
Yeah.
after that, she's been amazing.
Yeah, and then she does need one of those talents specifically, don't she? That gives the massive percentage HP increase, the
Yeah.
massive heal one. It's probably the most important one if you're going for a healer build. But anyways, on to Judy, we have high skill because she does do kind of low damage, but we've covered Judy before. She's got roots, she's got longer roots, so she can basically just lock off an entire screen, pick them down, use her shock. I mean, as we keep saying, she does have low damage. It's not too bad, but compared to
Yeah.
some of the other ranges, she does a lot more. And if you're comparing her shock to somebody like Buzz, then it's not as strong because Buzz has talent that increases that. But anything to add, Ib?
No, I think you covered pretty much everything.
We still feel like she's A tier though because she does have she has a lot of utility, which is
Yes,
it's just too great to ignore. She's high tech, she's usable in the towers.
yeah, definitely the best route in the game.
Yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. Okay, so you've covered Maui, we've covered Ursula, we've covered Jack a bit. You want to do Scrooge?
Yeah, so Scrooge, he's really interesting after his buff. So all you care about with Scrooge are those coins, and you really need specific talents in order to maximize that coin gain. So if you're not using those talents, he isn't really effective because those coins are very slow, and therefore his heal and his focus stacks are very slow.
Good notes, good notes. He is useful in two of the towers, I believe.
Yeah,
That's cool. And then again, with Elsa, we have high skill because she's really all about that aura. I know we've touched upon her before, but you need somebody to lure or root to keep them in the aura, and then you can dash around. So we feel like if you do play that way, she's probably not A, but she's not C if you don't play without it because the basics aren't too bad. It's just you'll get a little bit more out of it if you do play that way because you can cast it does cast on an enemy, so they will start to take damage whilst they're inside it and they'll have that debuff, but they will like run out to give aggression to whoever you're controlling at that time as well. So we feel if you had a lure or a stun or something to just to keep them within that aura, then yeah, that's the way to play her kit mainly.
yeah, and especially because, like, let's say she was paired with Frank, which is another high skill guardian. You need to join in those areas, which can be very, very hard to manage.
Personally, I'd throw Baymax in there as well as the tank because you've got his aura. You've got all three auras, which are roughly the same size. You've
Yeah,
got Baymax stun. Frank roots them if they go outside. I mean, if you could overlap them perfectly, that'd
yeah.
be some serious high skill play.
I still can't do that.
But I've never tried it, but it's theoretically it's there.
Yeah. So
You
now
want to
on
you want
to
to do Goofy?
yeah. So basically, Goofy's critical hits makes him have more damage from the ricochets because there's more. You can hit more enemies essentially, and he also has that chance to stun. Although that is pretty low, it's a he's a range guardian, and I think he's one of two guardians of range guardians that stun the enemies, which can be helpful when countering those special abilities.
I'll be honest with you. I think I've got like 15 to 20 SIGs on Goofy, and I've never seen that stun happen once.
Yeah, I think it's
I
like
don't know if mine's bugged.
I think it's like a 20% chance, so it's pretty low. So it's not really something you want to rely on. Like Buzz,
I know, I
you can
know.
rely on that.
I mean, buzzes is very easy to it's very easy to do though. As long as they've got shock and you throw that special in every 9 seconds, they are getting stunned. That is a guarantee. Whereas, like you said, Signet for Goofy, so it is. I've never seen it. Hopefully, other people have. If not, let us know in the comments, and we might have to raise it to the support team and let them know, and they might have a look into him and fix him. Is there any other Guardians you want to talk about?
I think we've covered everyone.
I think somebody to watch as well, that we're hearing a lot from the community, is Guardians like Mike, because he's useful in the high tech team on the towers as well, and there is ways and means that can make him a little bit better. And I mean, I think in the future, he'd have an S next to his name for Sig Reliant, but mainly boosted Sig, because it does raise his attribute boost to everybody else, which at 100 is 8%, which is a lot. I think at base it's 3.
Yeah,
so that's a whole extra 5% to all attributes, plus his talents as well. So I don't think we've seen the most out of Mike just yet.
He could be great with Mr. Incredible and Hero.
Yeah, definitely, because you've got the high-tech synergy between them two, and then they're both buffing Mr. Incredible. He's just awesome anyway, let's face it.
Yeah, definitely need to do some more testing on Mike.
So hopefully, guys, you've enjoyed our collaboration. It's the first time we've done it. I was a little bit nervous coming into it, but, I feel like we've done a decent job.
Yeah.
Credits to Ibby for designing this whole new graphic as well. This was all Ibby's work. It's absolutely amazing. Credits to all the ENC project team, everybody who took time out of the day to contribute. And also credit to, who is it who designed the Mirrorverse logo? Because we absolutely love that. And remember that name, because we have another surprise coming for you in the future regarding Mirrorverse.
Yeah, definitely look out for that. It's been very, very time consuming, and hopefully
it's been a long time coming. It's the biggest project anyone's ever done so far. It's amazing. I think you're all definitely going to love it.
Yeah.
So no worries, guys. Take it easy.